This podcast that you guys have, the concept of like half and halves, right? And to do a podcast with like calling other guests that are half and half and all of that. I swear, I kid you not, I had this exact concept
I love
2
that.
years ago, which is why I was so excited to be here, because I'm like, thank God, like I'm on this podcast, as if I can't do it myself, at least I'll go as a guest.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Half a Nice Day podcast with your host, Joshua.
And Janine.
And Happy New Year, guys. This is our first episode for the new year.
I know.
And but I'm really glad that we have two amazing guests with us.
It's exciting.
Our goal this year is to definitely have more episodes out.
Let's see.
And we will get into their New Year's resolution because it's something similar. But we have with us Alina.
Hi.
Yeah.
She's half Pakistani, half Russian, and we have Umer. I'm saying it right, yeah?
Omer.
Omar.
Huh?
Omar?
Omer.
Omar.
She said it perfectly.
Ah.
You should do the intro. Who's Pakistani, full Pakistani.
Full Pakistani.
Pakistani and
I don't know
Pakistani.
why he's here.
I thought it was have a nice day, not
I
have.
don't like your kind here. No, I'm kidding. You're of course welcome here. They are owners of Nova Studios, which is a social media agency. So let's give and they're also very big YouTubers, guys.
No.
Something that we're striving to be, aspiring
Yeah.
to be. So let's give a warm Half a Nice Day welcome to
Alina and Omar. Welcome
Thank
to
you
the
so much.
podcast, guys. Welcome, and thank you for your time. We were
you
just
for having
discussing
us.
New Year's.
It was very hard to get a hold of them, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very
Wow.
busy.
They're top guys.
Yes.
They're big YouTubers.
So I'm glad that we're starting and kicking off the year with big guys.
No, but I'm very happy that you guys made an effort to be here. I know something last time happened where you were.
Oh, I was having a breakdown, multiple.
Yeah, so of course I cannot ask him. Hey, I know you're in the middle of.
You want to talk about it today?
Not again, not this.
We're starting afresh this new year, I
Yeah, it's
hope.
a new year. It's a new me, new us, new them.
Yeah.
So that's our resolution, trying to create more. And we were just talking about that. If you guys want to share, is that one of your New Year's resolutions? If you even believe in New Year's resolutions.
I mean, last night, Alina and I went to the desert and we were just talking about what do you want to accomplish this year? And I told her, like last year, I didn't focus on my own content at all. So this year, because this was making my own content and seeing how people react to it was one of my favorite things that I did back in uni. But
Yeah.
then, the first 2 years of after you graduate, you want to figure out what you want to do with life, and you don't want to waste time. So I felt like in those 2 years specifically, whatever I wanted to achieve, whatever I thought was, if I did this, I'm accomplished per se. I've done those things to an extent. So now, even if I haven't done all of them, at least I've done enough that I can, go back into what sort of fed my soul.
Yeah.
And yeah, so sort of see how I react to, because initially I stopped making content because I was constantly just hated on and I couldn't deal with that hate online. So I was like, this is just not for me. But now after 2 years, I feel like I'm in a good place mentally where I can start making content again and
Very nice.
not let that affect me in the slightest.
Yeah.
'Cause it was really bad for me, at least.
Who's hating on you? Guys, come on. Seriously.
Many people. Sorry, guys, that was me.
You started that off.
No, but is that like really affect you a lot, like the cyberbullying part, or was it like cyberbullying, or just people didn't agree with your content, or
It was quite literally cyberbullying. So I was
It's a bit different in your case. Like, it wasn't just like the average hate comment. Like,
Yeah.
average.
our
hate.
boy here kind of like properly got cancelled at a point. Like, it was a whole thing. Like,
That's
it's
crazy.
so funny how
We start off with the cancel. They don't release this episode.
there already is a podcast about this. So you can go
Oh,
check
is
that
it one of
episode.
the is it one of
We
those
talk about the
videos where
nice
you
stuff
talked
now.
about depression and is that where it stemmed from?
It was a small little part. Not small. But
It didn't stem from that, but that was
Okay.
already when he started to open up about like the
Right.
repercussions that came from like that hate and the cyberbullying and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we said, it is a new year, so
Yeah.
we had to leave that behind
Exactly.
in 2020.
out with the old, in with the new, and yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, not to dwell much on that particular video that I saw on your page, but I do agree with what he said. If that that makes sense. We'll talk about it.
Was it with the Karak with?
When he says that depression, really,
That was-
you know,
The
with
thing
depression,
is,
you
it's
need-
like, it wasn't like, it was intense specifically for
Yeah.
me because I was already going to therapy for at least for 3 years by then. So when I started making, the reason I started making content was because something that my therapist suggested, because I just wanted to die all the time. So which we figured out later was just a hereditary
yeah.
form of depression. So it's
Yeah.
just there's no reason. It's just passed
Yeah,
along
it's
in
passed
genes,
on. Yeah.
which is just one of the biggest L's you're gonna see in your life. Like, why am I depressed? I don't know my mom. So what she told me was you should start focusing on doing something that you have never done before. So that for me was making content. I don't know. That's just, I like telling stories, so I started making that. And then after like a month of making content, I did like 15, 16 videos in a month, and I put those on YouTube, not really thinking much of it, but it was helping a lot. And after that, there was this like huge, I don't know how to put this, but like a campaign of cyberbullying against me, which even if it was small, it's the position that I was in mentally was just not something that I wanted to, I don't know. This was just something, I made content just so I could like stop myself from being depressed, but instead what happened was it just sort of intensified that.
Yeah.
That's the worst, right?
which-
Like you're trying to heal yourself, but
Yeah.
at the same time, the environment around you just comes back and like hates on you, and it sucks. You're like, how do I fix myself?
I was like, I'm not making content to promote, like, I'm not doing it to become famous or make money. I'm just doing this because, and then I even unlisted a lot of my videos because I was just making videos
Right.
just for myself and like maybe like 2 friends that I had. And that was it. But then those videos were doing really well and people started, they started blowing up in the first month. So a video of mine in the first month literally went viral. And I sort of liked that sort of validation because I didn't really have that.
Right.
So I was like, okay, let's just feed into this. So I fed into that for like 6-7 months more. And then the hate got too much. Even if it wasn't too much, it felt like too much.
Yeah.
Because there's a small little like example that I give. Like if you go to a mall and then someone comes up to you and says like the worst things imaginable to you, you'll think there's something wrong with this man. But if the same person that does that on your post on Instagram, it affects you.
Yeah.
So why does that happen?
Yeah.
So if that's a thing, why is that happening? So I had to sort of like change that mindset. That's why I took a break for 2 years.
Okay.
And after that break, I'm like, okay, now I can come back, sort of like I can deal with this.
Well, that's exciting that you're in that sort of headspace right now, that you're
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
welcoming and being ready for new content. And I guess with Alina on board as well and her creativity,
Oh, Alina is just too creative.
we're looking forward to this year. But thank you for sharing that story. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people can relate, to sadness, depression, and in this generation, it's tough.
It's tough.
Because then you see content about depression and sadness, and you're like, okay, what do I do with what I'm feeling? It's too much. It's this and that. But seeing someone who's also going through it, especially someone who's revered in a way of being content creator and being followed by a lot of people, I'm sure that gives a little bit of hope and courage to those who are going through it. So thank you for sharing that.
Hopefully that's
Yeah.
what that does.
Yeah. So on a lighter note,
On a lighter note,
So what's your
Right off the bat.
moving on from suicide and depression.
episode?
so moving on from that,
It was good. Face your demons first, and then so.
Now you guys.
It only
know
goes
what-
up from here now.
yes,
So
I
so
agree.
Let's get this out of the way and then move on.
So is
elephant in the
is it the same for you, Alina? Are you looking forward to more content creation for the year?
See, okay, look, I mean, yes and no. It's a bit of a dual answer because I don't feel like I left content exactly. Yes, I did kind of stop focusing on my own platforms. Like I haven't been posting as much on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube for that matter. YouTube is actually the platform I miss the most. With Instagram and TikTok, I just post because like why not, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's never been like a priority for me. It's never been like I really want to get Instagram famous or like TikTok famous, like no. In general, I feel like social media for me is more just like a creative outlet. Like it's always been like I really like creating, this is my art and this is how I express myself artistically, and that's all it has been really. But this, the New Year's resolution and like with all the reflection, I actually just got back from 2 weeks in Thailand where I was alone on a solo trip, just in my head,
Nice.
figuring myself out. And I came back to sort of like, I guess the pursuit of the artist. Like I came back to kind of asking myself, like deep down in my soul, like if I forget about like money for a second, I forget about like realistic things and okay, living in Dubai and like everything that makes my life what it is, let me just forget about that for a second and let me just go down here and let me ask myself, like, what do I actually want? And am I moving towards that or am I not? And if I'm not moving towards that, why am I not moving towards that? And I actually have this journal. It's a 5-year journal that I'm on my 4th year of it now. And it asks you a question every single day for a whole year. And every day of the year has a separate question. And the 1st of January is obviously the question of what are your goals? What are your resolutions? Like, what are your plans for the year? Your mission for the year, whatever. And like when I opened it this year and I just read my last year's answer, last year's answer, last year's answer, I read that I've had pretty much the same goal, but I just haven't been doing it.
Right.
And that was like I just felt stupid to like put down the same goal again for the 4th year. So I'm like, if I'm not doing it still, and it's been 3 years, clearly something's wrong in like my method here. You know what I mean? Like clearly I'm not doing what it is that I actually want to do. And I guess this year, like my resolution really is just to kind of come back to like not just like, oh, I want to create more content. Because I feel like I eat, breathe, sleep content all the time. Like whether it's for the business, whether it's for a client, whether it's for myself personally, like that is one area of content, which, I mean, like I do want to post more here and there. I do have a lot of like unedited videos that are just sitting for like ages as always.
Yeah.
But what I really want to get back to is instead of focusing on just like, oh, I need to post a lot of like Instagram reels and TikToks and like short form content, I want to go back to those movies and those scripts that I've had. And I've been sitting on some scripts for like 2 whole years.
Wow.
And only now do I feel like I have the ending to that script after the past 2 weeks that I was away. And I just kind of now have a bit of a direction. And this year, I guess that resolution is kind of just to come back to that creative soul of mine and like to focus less on like views, virality and oh, this is converting, that's not converting, creating ads, the perfect video for the perfect client, like what works, what doesn't work, strong hook, CTA. No.
Yeah.
I want to tell a story. I want to tell a real story, and I want to make something that actually means something to me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I want to do creatively, content-wise.
It must be a difficult sort of 2 things that you need to balance because, again, content is also your business. So you talk about all of those numbers, your KPIs, how much are you hitting, audience that you're trying to get into play with from a business perspective. And then on the other hand, you guys are true storytellers, content creators, and you live for the art. How do you sort of balance both of those? And I've gone through the same. I used to do wedding photography for years and I loved it, but then it came to a point where it was also my business. So I'm like, how do I balance the loving of taking portraits and photography versus making sure that I get enough clients, making sure that you market yourself?
Did you feel like that made you love what you loved less?
Yes.
Like, right?
Yes.
And then that kind of like takes you away from that.
I walked away from it totally.
Okay, you completely stopped doing photography.
I stopped.
That's
it
what
felt like work.
YouTube was for both of us. I feel
That's
as well.
one of the
We just
one of the
walked
reasons
away.
as well.
Yeah, and
It
like
started
this
feeling
is
like work.
this is not why
Yeah.
I loved photography, and it became stressful because then you have deadlines and you're like, okay, I'm not making enough, I'm not signing on a lot of clients this month, what do I have to do, la la la. And I'm like, okay, no, I had to step away from it. And before I completely removed my love for the art. And so only lately have I started getting back to like photography and portrait and all that. But yeah, it took a while. And when you get into this crazy limbo of like your business and your personal interests sort of getting into play,
It gets messy.
yeah. So when people say do what
100%.
you make sure that you do what you love and you work as what you love, and I'm like, that's
Yeah, the reality is
That's tough.
is
Yeah.
completely different. I mean, there are people who can really balance it well.
Yeah.
Oh, I love photography. It's my job. I breathe, sleep photography. But then the reality is completely different once you're actually in that stage. I mean, it works for some people maybe,
Yeah.
but
oh, that's fine.
that's okay. That's his YouTuber.
So,
That's his
just
wake-up
another-
call. You can't-
Exactly. You got to get back to it.
subscribers
Do you
are
not
calling.
remember your resolution?
Yeah. But yeah, looking forward to a lot of
Yeah,
content.
but that's so true because for me at one point it got to an extent where I wasn't making videos unless I had a sponsor to make that video with.
Yeah.
So unless I was getting paid to make that video, I wouldn't be
Right.
making a video. Because it gets to a point, I understand like you should do things that you love, but that's where they stop, right?
Yes.
When someone gives you advice and they say, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I just want to do something that I love. And oh, what do you love doing? It's just photography is my passion. But when you start doing that, you start realizing that your passion is now attached to your livelihood.
Yes.
So when that happens, what we started doing, what I started doing specifically, and I told this to Alina as well, is that we need to make sure that our entire life, our passion is not attached to our livelihood. Our livelihood should come from somewhere else entirely. So that when we're working on our livelihood, even if it feels difficult, it's supposed to feel difficult.
Yeah.
But our passion should not feel that way. So if
Exactly.
you want to make movies and if you want to make like write down scripts, find a way to make money first. So if you find a way to make money, then you can monetize whatever creativity or creative passion or outlet you have.
Yeah.
And that will feel like the thing that you have with stand-up comedy. If you make that your life, you'll start hating stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So unless you're at a point where you can actually quit what your livelihood job per se,
Yeah.
you shouldn't make that your one true thing.
Yeah. Your whole bread and butter,
Like
your
our whole-
life. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we did with our business as well, is that yes, we have that content realm as well.
But that's the skill that we have, right? Like the passion, for
Right.
example, is the deeper creative things. But the skill we possess is knowing how to make good content, therefore monetizing it like for businesses commercially, like because we know how to do ads and make marketing like videos. I would not say that's even close to my passion. Like it's not the same. It's the same skill set to some extent,
Yeah.
but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like content and this is like two different things. I see it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the way it really helps is that, let's say photography, okay? You have a client and there's one thing having a client and thing that you're passionate about, and then there's another thing, let's say you're a procurement manager and then you have another client. You have to work and study and like focus before you go to a meeting with a specific client for that. But when you have a photography client, you
Yeah.
can wake up and go to that client
Yeah.
and still impress that client. So that is something that really helps you if you have a similar skill set in your livelihood job and your passion job.
Right.
So I think that's the sweet spot that we were trying to find in the past year and a half and sort of have found now. So we're just doubling down on that.
Yeah. Sounds exciting. Well, congrats, you guys. Like, guess this is a year that
tried.
we're all looking for. You guys are super young, so you guys have a lot like ahead of you.
Did you guys attend that 1 Billion Summit? Or
Not this year. I attended it 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of big time creators coming on, and one of the topics that I saw from one of like my favorite YouTube creators was how do you like you okay, let's say you perfected something, you created the best video you ever could, and then now your whole mindset is like, how do I top this particular video? Does this happen a lot to you guys? Like when it's like, how do I better the perfect video? The last one, oh, my next video needs to get double these views. Yeah. So like, how do you grow comparing yourself to who you were like a couple of months ago to who you were in the future?
You answer
Well-
this. You have a lawyer. Alina has a
Oh
lawyer.
god. No, I mean that's it. That's definitely like I feel like again it comes down to like the creative. Like you have to look at the creative as a not as a specific like me as a creative, but just the creative as a whole. Okay, like it's a personality type. There like you create because you can't help but create. Like for me, I've realized this after, with reflection and with time, that when I'm usually in bad places in my life, or when I feel like I'm not myself, or if I'm like agitated or burnt out or whatever, I always realize that like it's usually when I'm further away from what it is that I want to do. And that like that's the creating. Like when I'm not creating, I lose my mind. He lives with me, he knows. He knows.
And I am constantly
I
in a
become
state.
like a horrible person to be around.
Okay.
But then it's also like this inner critic as
Just
well
then?
of like this perfectionism that like if you're producing something, like if I have an idea, it has to be executed perfectly. Like it has to be the best idea. This year is literally me overcoming that and trying to just tell myself that if you're going to sit on these ideas waiting until you have the perfect time to execute them, you will never execute them in your life. So just execute them right now with whatever means and resources you have, even if it's not the most perfect thing, and something else will come along in the future. But you can't sit on an idea for the rest of your life, like, which is what I feel like I've been doing for the longest time. In fact, I'll even share something even more funny. This podcast that you guys have, the concept of like half and halves, right? And to do a podcast with like calling other guests that are half and half and all of that. I swear, I kid you not, I had this exact concept
I love
2
that.
years ago, which is why I was so excited to be here, because
Yeah.
I'm like, thank God, like I'm on this podcast, as if I can't do it myself, at least I'll go as a guest.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do it, like create this community, which I
Yeah.
love and I admire so much, of just having like this half and half community, because it's a thing, it's a niche. I recognize it. I'm like, this is a thing, and this is like, no one can understand a half and half struggle the way a half and half can,
Yes.
right? But this is exactly what I mean to say. It's an idea I had. I planned everything. I even made the podcast cover for the podcast. Like I was fully ready to get this like on,
Tell
you
them
know.
the name.
It was called Being Bright, because I'm half brown, white. So put brown and white together.
That's beautiful.
Bright, yeah.
BRITE.
Yeah. So
Such a cool name, yeah.
Being Bright. But anyway,
We're shaking in our boots now. We're like, we have competition.
no, you don't, because that idea's gone. Like I'm done with it.
You never know. You never know.
Never
Right?
know.
Call
I
you
do
on our
know.
podcast.
Trust me, I do know. It's over for me.
Guys, I have this really cool idea for a podcast.
Well, if it ever happens, we hope that we could be a guest on your podcast.
You guys are welcome back anytime
Yes.
as well. So
Just change this to being bright.
Yeah, exactly. We'll change the letters up.
In this Russia and New Zealand and
oh,
Pakistan.
Russia's no, it's not. China.
I mean, Pakistan is silly.
There you go.
You're welcome anytime.
Anyway, I think I lost my train of thought. Like, where were we a few seconds
You
ago?
were talking about
Having a podcast too. You had
That
this
was the fun.
idea.
Yeah, that basically, if you sit on an idea and you just wait for the perfect moment, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying now is that I guess, what was the? Let me just hold on. We're gonna
No problem.
going back into my brain. What was the topic? It was the posting thing. Sitting on an
Yes.
idea and not getting. Okay, yeah. So to come back to that,
Yes.
basically, I used to post shit, and whatever I'd be happy with, like my best video, I would feel the pressure of I cannot make something better than this, or if I am going to make something better than this. And that's what led me to not posting. That's what led me to sitting on an empty YouTube channel for 2 years. That's what led me to not creating anymore, because I kept sitting on, I have to make it better. I have to make it perfect. I have the script, but I need to shoot it perfectly. Like I want it to be the best like possible way that I could execute it. I want to do it now. That's not going to happen. To get to that level where you have all those resources, you have to start with the resources you have first. So now I'm just kind of coming back to that and trying to detach myself from the art. Like I'm just creating because I want to create, but I don't want to attach the, I guess the results to it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to create for the results. And
Exactly.
it's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. Like it's a lot easier said than done. Yeah, we're all little attention seekers, okay? But at the same time, that is, I feel, the only way that I see now that I could possibly move forward in a way that's healthy and actually create. So
Yeah, and just putting something out there, I'm sure your followers will still consume whatever that is. And usually as artists, we're like the worst critic to ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing is ever enough. Nothing is ever perfect. And so sometimes whatever we post is actually the most perfect at that particular moment. Time to post. And I say that because I also have content like just waiting on my hard drive for like 2-3 years now of
It'd be that
our
way.
travel vlogs and videos, and you're just
So
like,
she used to
when
be a
is the right
vlogger,
time?
by the way.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Not a very how many? You had a good following though. But her personal channel has more subscribers than this podcast, so you know she's bigger. She started with the covers and then went into travel vlogging.
Nice.
Oh, really? Where have you traveled?
She's traveled a lot. Yeah.
Nice.
Your top 3 destinations. What are the top 3 places? Because we're
Hawaii.
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 Okay.
Oh my God.
We're asking because we're planning like 3 trips this year, so we're
Yes.
like, where do we go?
Japan. You have to go to Japan if you haven't.
We
already.
haven't,
I mean,
but
we haven't, but
we're
this is our main plan.
yeah.
Right.
You guys can come with us. It's fine. We need photographers to get some photos.
And we really enjoyed Bali. Was very nice as well.
Yeah, but it's too crowded.
Just saturated.
You need if you're ready to
a
be
lot of
stuck in traffic
Aussies in
and
Bali.
Aussie.
have the
Yes.
competition of real
Thailand as well, by the way.
real
Yeah.
content creators as well, then it's
Philippines, of course. It's in our hearts.
Thank God you guys suggested one of the countries.
Philippines
you're from.
actually looks amazing, by the way.
yes,
Like I
yes.
saw some
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
too.
like it actually looks
beautiful.
like Thailand, like those islandy areas. I was like thinking,
And not as saturated yet.
yeah.
And you don't have a language barrier.
Yeah.
Everyone speaks English. If you go to an
Nice.
island called Cebu, I don't know if it's somewhere there.
There, in the middle.
It's
Cebu.
the call center capital of Philippines, and man, I'm not even kidding. They have better English than me and Janine combined.
Interesting.
I would go to like a coffee shop, and they were like, "Hey, how is it going? What can I get you?" All those sort of things. And I'm
White
like,
sand beaches everywhere.
yeah,
White sand beaches everywhere.
Yeah, like literally, if you go to Palawan over there, or you go to sort of Siargao, which is the surfing
Siargao is
capital,
the surf capital.
on
If
the
you go to
far
Palawan,
right.
that's where a lot of UNESCO heritage sites are. And if you go to like if you see in the middle right, that's Cebu, where you can go whale shark swimming.
Yes.
Oh, whale shark swimming.
Swim with the whale
Yeah.
sharks. Yeah.
And what is Chocolate Hills?
Chocolate Hills is
I'll show you a picture.
it's like tiny hills that looks like Hershey's Kisses.
Oh,
And it's very beautiful.
they
And you
have
see that
an
little
animal
monkey
which
on
is
the
native to Philippines, where you cannot
Yeah.
get anywhere. Like
the little like it's called a tarsier, but it's like a monkey.
Oh, Tertiary.
Yes.
They're
And
tertiary.
they're native to that area, so you
there's a
can.
scale.
so, like
you
this.
can go and
This is
visit
the
them,
Chocolate
yeah.
Hills.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
that looks like something out of Dora the Explorer, you know, like in the map.
Yes. So we have
Chocolate
like
Hill.
7,000 islands like the whole Philippines is the whole
crazy.
archipelago.
And active
so-
volcanoes as well.
and active volcanoes. You'll see them on the where we got married. Just like a few meters away, not meters, feet away, is an active volcano. But thank
Yeah.
God we didn't get.
You got married next to an active volcano.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a story.
Yes.
That's nice.
And we were
it was
checking in with the
beautiful.
venue like literally every day for a month.
It's not blowing up
before-
today, right?
Yeah, you're like, are you sure, guys? It's not.
Alert level, also
Yes.
alert level, all those sort of things.
Yeah.
And we had people flying in from all parts of the world, so we were really, really scared.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Philippines is beautiful. Lebanon is very beautiful.
But what were you guys
Yeah.
thinking for which 3 countries were you thinking of this year? Or you had it?
Said one was on the list that we mentioned. Is it?
I mean,
not?
I want to go to Thailand because I was
Yes.
supposed to go this. with
Yeah,
Alina.
I also put that on the list again because I went and I just got back, but I want him to come too because
Yes.
I'm like, this has to be
Yes.
experienced together.
Yes.
I've never been. She's been, so.
Thailand's
Thailand's
amazing.
beautiful, and food is like so good.
And
Yeah.
where else do I want to go?
Turkey was one you wanted to
Turkey.
go.
I always want to go to
beautiful.
Italy, but
Yes.
it's just the visa thing that's
Yeah.
super
This
annoying.
visa thing is so annoying. Yeah.
But yeah, Alina can go anywhere, anytime. of
Sorry,
the day,
can't relate.
This guy too.
which is just
What's your passport?
it feels
I have a
unfair.
Portuguese passport.
I
It
feel
is
like
unfair.
these like
Right?
traveling, see.
It is so unfair.
Wait,
I'm
the
actually
privilege too
curious.
much.
Do you have a Lebanese or a
I do have both
Philippine?
Lebanese
Okay,
and
so you got both of
Filipino,
them,
but
nice.
unfortunately, both are not
Both,
the best
yeah.
rated passports.
oh, so you have two. Okay.
Yes, and soon enough, hopefully, this guy could help me out with a Portuguese passport.
How
Why
did
do you
get
think
a
I'm with
Portuguese
Alina?
My
passport?
dad's going.
Because Goa, like,
Yeah, Goa,
right,
Portugal,
right,
colonization, all those things.
Oh
I'm
no!
not
They
getting a
don't know.
passport because she'll leave me immediately the moment she gets it.
Every time I joke around, I'm like, I'm with you because of your passport. You know that? And it's like, yeah, sure. Maybe another year or so. But yeah, yeah.
I'll have the passport and then I'll be with her for like 6-7 months more, so not make it look. And then I'll start picking up fights, and just be
Yes.
like, you are
Just
the one.
plant the seed along the way.
Right.
I'll be like-
Slowly.
That's the best way to do
You,
it.
you cheated on me in my dreams last night.
Exactly.
What is that about?
Waking up and just starting to pick a fight. as
Why
soon
are
as
you like
wake
this?
up.
What did I do?
Why are there like 500 men liking your post? Content creator.
Why is your account
Why
public?
is this the issue now?
Exactly.
Why is your account public? Alina?
Speaking of relationships, I would love to hear. You gave me a glimpse earlier of how you two met. Maybe
gave
you
you-
could.
oh.
You told me that you met
We
in
met in
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Yes.
Okay, so very interesting.
Yes. So how did this happen?
Okay.
We
This
met
was
on
not
YouTube.
supposed to happen. At least in my head, this was never supposed to happen because I was like, wow, how
Wow.
Why
who's
me?
this
The
girl?
gods are good.
God
the
is
universe is alive.
amazing. God really likes me right now. What did I do? But I made a video about Alina on YouTube, and then I posted that video, and then I got everyone who was watching that video to go comment on Alina's video and say, "Sad Omar sent us here.
Said Umer Noman.
Sad Omar Noman sent us here." It wasn't supposed to be flirting, but
Yeah.
it came off as flirting.
I didn't know him at all.
What?
I didn't know him at all. So,
Okay.
and I I was so new to the YouTube scene. Like, I think this was when my channel was like initially blowing up. Like, it was happening, but like I was still very, very new to it. He had more subscribers than me at the time because
I
I
had five.
just started like posting,
I have 5,000 subscribers.
and I was
so
at like 2,000.
it was 5-6 months into me making content. I have 5,000 subscribers. I was like, wow. And then I had been working really hard on YouTube, and then I was making this video. I record half of the video, then I take a small little break, go on my laptop. And as soon as I go on my laptop, I see on YouTube a video of Alina. And I'm like, wow, what a hot chick. Like, wow, what a hottie. God is
So
great.
Pakistani, I love
So, what is this white chick doing on my feed?
Desi.
What is this brown white chick doing in Pakistan? So I open up a video, and turns out she was in the same city that I was in. I was like, what? How? This is
Which
real?
city is it?
Karachi.
Okay.
So, and she made this really funny video. It was extremely funny
It was
video.
COVID times, so I was graduating in my own bedroom.
And she
I did a whole graduation ceremony just
on
yeah.
her bed. She was
my
just
bed.
standing on her bed.
Yeah.
She's doing her entire graduation. It's really funny. So I was watching it and I'm like, wow, she's also funny. She's good looking and she's funny. And then turns out she's also like, I don't know, like she kept on making like these. I kept on laughing throughout like those 5 minutes. And I had this thing in me when I was, I don't know, I used to compare myself a lot to other people, which is something that I completely stopped doing after I made that video. I think that video was for God to tell me, like, stop doing that. I gave you Alina, so just stop. Anyways, I started comparing. I called my best friend and I told her, I was like, I don't know, I saw this girl, it's putting me off. Like, I don't want to make videos anymore. Why is, every single time I would refresh, Alina's page, YouTube channel was blowing up. So every time I would refresh, she would have 500 more subscribers. So it was like, what is happening?
Okay,
So,
girl.
from the time I was making the video, she had 2,000 subscribers. By the time I was done, 30 minutes later, she had 3,500 subscribers. So I was like, excuse me, hello? And she's also blowing up. So like, what is this? What is this about? Which is also like, now that I say it, sounds so childish and bad.
But it's a normal human emotion.
It's the exact same
It's such a raw human
Yeah.
emotion. Of course, like I get it.
And it was
Like,
such a
I
raw
feel that
feeling. And I
too.
told my friend, and I'm like, I just feel bad. And she told me to make a video about this specific feeling. So I made a video about that feeling, how you need to catch yourself while you're thinking this way. And in the end, I sort of told like everyone that while I was making the video that this is the video that I watched. This is the girl. I forgot about Alina's name in the video because the video wasn't about her. It was about the feeling. But then in the end, I put the link in my description. Everyone started going on the link, started commenting, and then I got Alina's attention. She responded.
No,
like,
wait,
oh my
because
God.
out of nowhere, I don't know him. And I just see hundreds of comments on my video about graduating. It has nothing to do with sad Umer Noman sent us here. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, who is Umer Noman? Why is he sad? Who is this? And then, I don't know, I guess we started talking.
I don't know why I'm sad. Please help.
Boy, please.
Like, what?
I need a white blonde chick in my life. I'm so sorry.
Relax.
Sorry.
Okay.
I got too excited. Anyways, we made that.
We're exactly the same, by the way. Exactly the same, bro.
Did you ever think that it would be like a romantic gesture
No.
Oh,
to you?
no,
no,
way.
if
It
anything, this is a
wasn't
creepy
romantic.
gesture.
Even in
Okay.
the beginning, it
Extremely
wasn't
creepy gesture.
romantic. Like, we
Right.
had a completely platonic friendship.
Like a collab, let's collab on video.
No, just we were hanging out.
After that,
Yeah.
after 3 months after that, we met. So I made that video.
Okay.
We started talking. We talked in June, July. So on my birthday, we started talking for the first time. June, July, August, and by the end of August, I showed up at her house, which was also really weird.
Yeah, like the entire like development of us becoming friends is so weird.
It was
It's
really
so
weird.
like
and it was forced.
it wasn't forced. That's the thing. Like it was such weird circumstances, but it felt so natural. Like it just felt like
I love it.
yeah, like it was like okay, I know this person, but
Yeah.
I didn't know him.
Such a modern
Stranger.
day love story. You know, you think like
Yeah.
Tinder and thing is like all modern day, but
Yeah,
like now it's
no.
like, oh, I was vlogging. I see this channel.
Yeah.
Then I
Ask
post.
my subscribers to wingmen for me. All those sort of things. It's so
Well,
crazy.
first of all, great subscribers.
Great,
'cause-
amazing. This
Yeah.
guy got me a
Honestly, you know,
wife.
like there's that.
His
there-
community's amazing.
Yeah.
that's the best. You know, like people say like you don't even need like 1,000 subscribers. You need like 50 fans who will do.
Exactly what you told me.
Yeah, exactly what you tell them who really look up
And are
to you as
dedicated
such an
to you,
inspiration.
yeah.
Guys, send me. No, that's a bad example. But not send me money. like you know, like do something for me. Just like even simple as commenting.
Yeah.
As commenting.
This person sent me here. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
Like that was such a
That's-
small thing that
Yeah.
I did, right? It was
Yeah.
just as a joke. I didn't think people would do it.
Right.
And now, but just because of that small little gesture, I have like Alina with me for like 4 years now, which is crazy.
Dude, that's
Which is
crazy.
insane.
This is the true modern day love
So
story.
this is quite a personal question, but I know that from the beginning you're already in love with Alina. Like you saw this
Or
woman.
smitten.
So you were smitten, yes. So, but Alina, what was it? Because you said it was platonic. It was
It
very
was.
much like
I think
nothing
even-
was there.
It was
And
platonic for me too, okay?
It was.
I don't care about her. What was that moment for you?
You know, it's funny because
She's still waiting for that moment.
You know, it's funny because it's not here.
I don't
What
know why he
moment?
followed me
Excuse
to
me?
Dubai
I'm supposed to have a moment.
like twice.
Think twice if you're in trouble.
Were you forced to be on this podcast?
Like, save me.
Save me, this man. This Pakistani. I wish he was half. That was Alina's type as well, by the way.
My type was a half.
Okay, yeah.
Before when we started talking, you can continue after this. When we started talking for the first 2-3 months, she's like, "You're not allowed to fall in love with me," and I'm like, "Alina, give me 3 months, you'll fall in love with me."
I love this.
You
He
said
really
that?
said that.
I
He
love
really
that.
said that.
I
Let's
said,
go.
Give me 3
Really
months,
said
you'll fall in love.
that.
And 3 months later, Alina did fall, not fall in love, but like she started
I
liking me.
love that.
Yeah.
And she's like,
He's
"Do
the
not."
max.
And now
Something
she's
like
thinking
that.
of that moment. She's like,
Something
when,
like
that.
when
I should
when-
not
No,
have said that,
I
right?
actually do know exactly what that moment is.
Oh my god, I'm interested.
I do know what it was. Because we met in Pakistan. And we met when I was already leaving. So this was already like the first time he came to my house, that's spontaneous. The first time we ever met, he spontaneously showed up to my house with another friend who was one of my friends, which made it less weird, I guess.
I was in
So,
that area, my
yeah,
house
yeah,
for
like,
50 minutes.
It's not as weird as it sounds. It's a bit creepy, but it's not that weird, okay? So these guys, when they showed up, my house was being packed. Like my house was in boxes. I was already like that's it. My Pakistan chapter is already closed. It's over. I'm leaving. And up until this point, I still had no connections. I was still like, I hate Pakistan. I'm ready to leave. Like whatever. I didn't have any like friends that I was like, okay, these are my lifelong friends.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
No ties.
Nothing
No,
was holding
no
her back
ties.
about it.
Nothing was holding me back. I was ready to leave. I didn't like the place. I'm like, that's it. And then he comes along. He comes that day, and then we like I don't know. We just hit it off. Like we were really good friends, like instantly. And I was like, damn, like I haven't connected with someone in like 2 years, and I wasn't even connected in that way. Like none of my friends, I didn't feel like I had that, like I didn't feel like I was on the same wavelength with anybody. And it just happens. Like sometimes you just don't connect with the right people and it does take time. And I'm personally like a quality over quantity person. Like I have a few friends, but they're really good friends rather than like, friends with everyone. And I didn't connect with anyone for like 2 whole years. And then I don't know, like somehow we just got on so
it
well
off,
right
yeah.
off the bat. Like it was as if we knew each other like our whole lives. Like it did not at
Beautiful.
all feel like I just became friends with him. But I did keep telling him because I knew he wasn't my type. I had a strict like no Pakistanis rule. I don't know. I have reasons for it, but we're not going to get into that today. And then
Even I haven't gotten into that now. What today?
And then I don't know, like my turning point was when I left Pakistan and I was in Dubai, and it was the first day that I came back here, and I'm like, all right, now it's over, and I had said goodbye to him and everything. We had a beautiful 3 months of friendship. We traveled around Pakistan together as well with other friends because we were also like YouTubers, so we were getting invited to the same events and like
Collab,
everything.
then
Yeah. So we were part of the same like sort of thing, and obviously we kept getting closer and closer and closer. But really, up until this whole moment, like, it's completely, we're just friends. And I kept telling Umer, like, because I wasn't ready for a relationship. I didn't want to be in a relationship.
And I had never
wasn't-
been in a relationship.
I wasn't even looking for one at that point. Like, I felt like I was happy focusing on myself. And I was doing so well on my own, too. So, and I was like, I'm going to Dubai. Like, I want to be single. I want to be, like, the bachelorette, like, ready to mingle. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I got to explore my options. Like, Alina in Love Island, that was me in Dubai.
I
Yeah.
want to explore my options. Crazy. Crazy. Imagine telling a girl that you like her, that you've been seeing for like 6 months, and then she goes, "No, I want to explore my options."
Yep.
What game show am I on? What is this?
So that was
The
me.
Bachelorette.
And then when I was in Dubai, it just, that day that I came here, I don't know, I kept crying. Like I couldn't stop crying. I'd wake up at night and I was crying. And it was so weird to me because I didn't like Pakistan. It wasn't like I missed living there or I wanted to be there. Or I had like, and I realized like, then my mom says something weird to me. And my mom has no context to anything, but she just sees that I'm crying and she's like, Alina, you just left Pakistan. Why are you crying as if you've left the love of your life? And then I was like,
Oh. What's the C?
Juicy.
Yeah.
Stop.
It's a 3 month.
Promise you made it.
Stop. No.
Thank you.
I don't allow it.
So
Thank
it's
you, Alina's mom.
it's mom's doing actually.
I
No,
have
but
nothing
it
to do
was
with it
at
now.
that point like I realized, yeah, I like him. Like,
Aww.
So you asked him to come to Dubai, or
I didn't ask him. It was just like we dated like long distance for 2 years. So he came like
Yeah.
way after I did. So I was here for 2 years and then he moved.
I kept calling her back.
Did
to
you
Pakistan.
visit her?
We
within
used to
those 2
visit in
years?
between,
Okay.
of course, yeah.
Okay.
Every
In
2 or
one
3
of the
months
years
we
we didn't meet for 8 months because it was really hectic. That was so hard.
Yeah.
The second year we didn't meet for 8 months. We had
Yeah.
so many fights.
And then
intense
eventually,
fights.
because he graduated and he was done with like uni in Pakistan, so then he had his like it just fell into the path like naturally because
Yeah.
obviously we have a relationship, so it's like what's the next step? I'm not gonna be moving there, so you're not gonna be living there. So what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Before I graduated, I got a job. I did that job for 6 months. And
continue
then I,
talking. I'm just gonna plug in the power, but continue.
and then I got another offer, which was really good job offer, and I actually wanted to take it, but it was a commitment. It was like they were making me sign a long-term contract.
Oh wow.
So I called Alina and I was like, I will not sign this contract. I will figure something out. I will come to Dubai. And then I came to Dubai just for like 2 weeks. Somehow, I don't know how, but I found an investor who was willing to invest in my business. And I was like, perfect. And
Nice,
then,
yeah.
And then he sort of paid for my visa. He sort of paid for everything. And I just moved here. So I was
Wow.
like, brilliant. And I was building an app back in Pakistan. So I sold that app, sort of made a little bit of money, came here, got an apartment, and then we moved in together. And then we're like, oh,
Yeah.
right, finally. Yeah.
Ah, so what a beautiful story, you guys. First, thanks to Alina's mom, who made you realize that there was
My
something
mom
there.
has been the reason I have dropped boys like this and maybe started thinking about them as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah. So, but your mom is not. She's in New Zealand.
no. Actually,
Okay.
my whole family lives here because I moved
Oh.
with my family.
Okay, got it. Okay, love that. So you've met the family,
Yeah.
all that, getting all
yes, I have.
serious.
They all love him.
Yeah. So you left Pakistan and you're like, you know what, I'm never coming back, or do you see yourself moving
I don't
back
ever
there?
want to work in Pakistan. That is a goal.
Okay.
That is just something that I'm like,
Yeah.
no, don't do this. Because I just don't want, I don't want to go back to Pakistan in the sense of staying there, living there, and working there. Obviously,
Yeah.
I want to go back because my parents are there. But that's it. That's literally it.
Yeah.
There's no other reason to go back to Pakistan. And yeah, I moved here because it made sense because Alina was here. Plus, we have this thing in Pakistan where Dubai is like the most, I don't know, the best city of Pakistan. That's how you say it.
The
Dubai is the best
Yeah.
Pakistani city.
Yeah.
Apparently, everyone here drives taxis, but it's the best Pakistani city. But yeah, so
I mean, if there's anywhere to make it, it's Dubai.
It's Dubai.
100%.
And I feel more and more people are starting to see that. I mean, we grew up here. We've been here our entire lives, basically 30 plus years. But who would have thought, like, in our teenage years that Dubai would be the city that everyone...
I know.
It's
Would
the
flock
Dubai
to.
dream now,
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants
That's
to be
so true.
here.
Yeah.
everyone wants a piece of that Dubai.
And I remember people not even knowing what Dubai is.
Yeah.
They're like, Dubai? What's Dubai? What's UAE? Even more so when you
Yeah,
say
yeah,
UAE.
yeah.
And I remember some of my friends in the Philippines when I studied for college, they're like, oh, you mean Saudi? Because at that time, Saudi was more popular with expats. I'm like, yeah, but it's the country that's next to Saudi.
right.
But now you say Dubai and people think it's a country in itself.
People think it's a country. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So you guys lived in Dubai your entire life.
Yes.
You guys saw the Burj Khalifa being made.
Yes.
Dubai kids.
You guys saw
Yes.
Dubai being nothing and then becoming something.
Yeah.
Literally
When Sheikh
driving
Zayed Road was
down.
2 lanes.
Yes.
When the tallest
Wow.
building here was the World Trade Center.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. It was so crazy. I like as a kid, 'cause it's such a stupid story, but I love telling the story because so World Trade Center, the Trade Center roundabout,
Yeah.
that was the tallest building here.
Okay.
And the first ever Godzilla movie came out, and as an ad, they put Godzilla on the World Trade Center.
Oh, that's actually.
And I
cool.
woke up and I saw that ad, like was getting ready for school, and I started crying. I'm like, we're gonna die, Mom. Gorilla in Dubai, and he's already taken down the biggest building here. There's nothing gonna stop him. I love you in case I die tomorrow. Yeah, so I've seen Dubai built from the ground up when shawarmas were
Yeah.
2 dirhams.
Yeah. Or you drive down Sheikh Zayed Road and you still see the beach.
Yeah, you can
still see the
beach.
water.
Yeah,
and
you can see the.
see a couple of villas here and there. There was the Hilton at the end of like JBR side. You'll see Hard Rock Cafe, which
Oh,
is
that
no
was an
longer
iconic
there.
building.
Next
That
to
is so
yeah.
crazy.
Did the first ever global village happen while you were here?
Yes.
Really?
And it's not there. It's literally in
There it wasn't even
Dera.
global village. It was just like it was
Yeah.
just village.
Yeah.
It's
Just
no
a couple
global-
of stalls here and there from different countries.
Just a small little market.
Yeah,
Yes.
this was like, and then it became big. It moved locations, I think, 3 times until it's where it is
Until
now.
where it is now.
3 or 4 times,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, Dubai has been our home, home away from home. And every time we go back either to the Philippines or Lebanon or when we're away, we're like, we want to go back home.
Yeah.
And home
And
is
there, that's
Dubai.
when we are back home. That's where we feel like tourists. But here we're like, okay, completely normal. But over there, I'm just like, oh, how do we navigate through life here? And
Do you feel that too? Like maybe growing up in New Zealand, have you felt that was home for you or?
This
At
is such
that-
a very good question.
Yeah, like my journey of finding home is also like what I spend pretty much most of my life on. Like I think 23 years of my life have just gone into figuring out like what is home?
Yes.
Who am I?
Yes.
Tell them your
And
entire
identity
thing,
crisis.
right?
Okay. I
This is
don't
very
know,
interesting about it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. Like I'll just what do I like the whole
Tell them like where you were born, where you live, like everything.
like okay. My parents met in Dubai.
Wait, wait, wait.
oh,
Before
before I
she tells
was
you,
born.
before she tells you this, she's gonna tell you the entire thing,
Yes.
and then you guys tell me where she's from, because there's even I don't understand, and there's like an identity crisis. Because I want to ask
Okay.
this question to all 3 of you, because
Yeah.
I'm not a half. So do you also have like an identity
Yes,
crisis
right.
thing?
Yes. There's a home crisis. Like what's
Yeah,
home?
yeah,
Where's
yeah,
home?
Yeah.
What is the tradition? What culture are you following?
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially when home to us, for example, will never be local, will never be Emiratis, you know? So
Yeah.
when people say, or we say, we're from Dubai, so they're like, oh, so you're
Emirati.
Emiratis. And
Yeah,
we're like,
yeah,
no.
no.
So you have to explain the whole thing,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And that adds the
it's
complexity.
a very
to
big
the
thing.
whole
And even like before she gets to another story, it's also our experiences are completely different. Like I only speak English and Filipino Tagalog, but she speaks Arabic, Filipino, and Tagalog. She's very in tune with her Lebanese culture. Only recently is when I started exploring my Indian culture a little bit
Right.
more. But before that, like growing up, it was mostly Filipino. Like I could clearly say I am more Filipino than I am Indian. Only recently is like when I'm like, I need to get in touch as well with my Indian side. But my dad is a journalist. So growing up, he was only speaking English because he would do all his publications, all his editorials in English. He would speak to us in English, but for her, it was a different story. Her dad was like, no Filipino around me. When you're with me, you speak
Your
Arabic.
dad was Lebanese.
thing.
Yeah.
That's Lebanese.
That makes sense.
And your
Yeah, I
dad
get
is
that.
Indian or
Indian.
Philippines?
My dad is the
Okay.
Indian,
Yeah.
and my mom is a Filipino.
Okay.
But of course, technically, when there's a mixed race and there's a Filipino involved, their kids are going to be more Filipino than they are the other
Why is that?
national. I would
I
say
think
like
from a mom perspective, I guess, yeah.
Because it's very interesting. Your dad is
Yeah.
Indian, so I would assume that your dad would have more of a, I don't know, like a say of sorts.
zero.
'Cause that's all what happens, right? Alina has more Pakistani influence because her dad's Pakistani.
At least in the
Right.
way that our like how we grew up or how like the places we went to or like the way
The kind of food you eat.
I
even.
think the biggest like what I mean to say in that is like influence wise is me as a person personally I wouldn't say that
Okay.
but I'm talking more from the environment that was like
Right, right,
created.
right.
Obviously my dad had a like the stronger hand like
Right.
obviously like my we did visit my grandma and like with my mom's side of the family we did, but there's not much Russian culture
Okay.
as such, right? Like I went to a Russian school for 2 years. That's about as much as Russian like I got. That's why I know the language. That's why I can read and write.
Right.
But otherwise, it's like I don't like. There's no Russian culture per se.
Yeah.
The way we celebrate like
Eid
the
or
Pakistani stuff, we do not celebrate like Russian things. Like I got my grandma to get me a tree for New Year's because they put up a tree on New Year's. It's like Christmas, New
Yes.
Year's, Orthodox, Novy God.
Yes.
So I wanted that. I wanted to be in tune with that, me personally, which is why I asked for that, and I wanted to. But in my home environment, it was way more like stronger Pakistani influence.
What language do you think in?
English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you-
that's English as well.
Okay.
Interestingly enough. Okay, so but still, your dad didn't have that much of. Your mom had more of an
So
influence.
there was some, but I would say it wasn't like really enforced, because he was very chill out about it, and like growing up, my mom my mom came here like in the 70s. So when she came here, all her Filipino family also wanted to come here. So I was surrounded by more Filipinos than I was around Indians.
Okay.
And it was just, I don't know, it was just very different from like how I would imagine other Filipino Indian couples, because I met other Filipino Indian couples who speak all three languages. They have an equal distribution of cultures within them. But for me, I would say I'm like 80% Filipino and 20% Indian. I think but like I said, I really want to get in touch with my Indian side.
Yeah.
Something that I've neglected. Like she also says, I wish she knew Hindi because I would love Hindi or Konkani or an Indian language at least, because she's like, I would like to teach our kids
Yeah.
multiple
Yeah.
languages because it'll be nice. You know, it's a cool thing
Of
as well
course,
to have.
Can you imagine like a little child just moving around with Arabic, Filipino, Hindi, and in Dubai?
Dude, that's
Oh my
like
God.
that's
Then
the
he
most
knows-
powerful
That's
package
a very
for
powerful
Dubai.
child.
That's like
If
the
he knows
most
He will
powerful.
take over Dubai,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. That's all you need, you know.
Just those three languages,
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Especially here in this region. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In
That's
this region,
powerful. They
yeah.
crack.
Okay, Filipino, Arabic, and English.
those are
Yes.
genuinely like
Right?
the golden languages. You do not need anything else in Dubai. Like nothing.
He gets the golden visa right away.
Yeah.
Here you go.
On default. Honorary
It's a
Emirati.
baby language is more complex than
Exactly. And so your parents met here in Dubai. Okay.
So the history of me is like way back when my parents used to work here. So they also talk about Dubai being like this country that was like empty, and like my mom talks about how she used to drive to Jebel Ali from like Mamzar in like her sports car, and like no, there was nothing, and it was
No
like driving
traffic.
down like an empty like desert road. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow. So they met, I guess, while they were young. And then they got married, obviously. But then my dad, he worked in a Japanese company. So he posted to Japan. So he had to work there. He was I don't know, like brand manager or something. I don't know, whatever. So for whatever reason, he was in Japan. They spent a few years in Japan together, my mom and dad. And obviously then after they got married, they were having me. And I just happened to be born in Japan.
so cool.
But I have,
born in Tokyo.
unfortunately, I have no like actual ties other than the fact that I'm born. I'd love to go and like explore it, and you know,
Did
like,
you get a Japanese passport or no? Okay.
That's the thing, because I didn't have a Japanese parent. So from
Okay.
there, initially I actually was on my mom's passport, and then from there we went to New Zealand right after I was born in Japan. I spent the first few years of my life in New Zealand. My sister was born. Then we came to Dubai. We had a few years in Dubai. Went to a Russian school. And then we moved back.
Russian
to-
school
I
here?
went to a Russian school.
Oh,
here,
okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of Russians, right?
Yes.
And what was it called? Russian private school or something.
And she still has her friend.
And I still have one friend that I went to school with. Like, she also just recently moved back to Dubai, so now we've like reconnected.
Okay.
So that's where I got my Russian
Yeah.
influence. Then after that, it was pretty much just New Zealand, because that's where like I grew up mostly. And obviously then my passport became a New Zealand passport as well. And initially it was like, for me, it was a no-brainer. New Zealand is home.
Right.
Like, no-brainer. I'm like, it has to be, like, it is New Zealand. It's nothing else. Like, it's this for me. And I identified with it. I grew up there. I resonated with the place. Like, I had everything I needed, my friends, my school, my life. Like, that's it. You know, this was my home. There's nothing else I need to see.
Where exactly in New Zealand?
Auckland.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Flatbush.
yeah, Flatbush Mission Heights.
I really like the name Flatbush. I,
It's now stuck in his brain. Flatbush.
Flatbush. Yeah. I was gonna make a stupid joke. I'm just gonna nod.
I know what joke you're gonna make. I was gonna make that joke as well, but then I remembered.
I'd like to not. So then we moved to Pakistan in 2018. So this was when I was 17.
What was the reason, or just
The reason, well, it was a mix of reasons, but I think the biggest thing at the end of the day was like my dad recognized something that I didn't recognize at the time that I now recognize. And it's funny, I actually, like, my friends I recently met them, and they actually asked me the same question, like, wait, so why did you move? And they, like, I didn't know how to explain to them that I understand why I moved now. Like, I get it, you know? Because what I realized is that he could see, and what I see now is that I would have never really grown. Like, I would have stayed at that level that I was in. I would have stayed in that sort of bubble. Like, there's not really that much opportunity or room for growth in New Zealand. That's one big factor.
Okay.
Population's super small. And it's just, yeah, you'll have a job, you'll make money and whatever, but like, that's it.
The
You're
highest paying
totally
job, by
like
the way.
disconnected from the world. It's a completely different, yeah, this is crazy, by the way.
The highest paying job in New Zealand is
is
a
to
plumber.
be a plumber.
If you're a
like,
plumber, you
yeah.
make the most amount of money in New Zealand.
Oh.
They don't have any goals or
Yeah.
dreams per se. They don't have any rules and regulations for
Yeah.
businesses.
I don't want to generalize.
Yeah,
and,
not
like, say,
generalizing,
like,
but,
okay,
like-
everyone but like, I'm talking about the general sort of culture,
Like-
because like, if we from where we're at now, this is such a fast paced, like, hustle culture.
Hustle
Like,
culture.
you just work, and everyone's like it's insane what people in Dubai are doing. You sit next to someone and like, they could be, I don't know, like the next sheikh or something. Like, you just never know, right? And everyone has like there's a lot of self-made people here as well, which
Yes.
I really, really respect, and like a lot of businesses and
Different
and all of that.
cultures as well. In one
Different
person, you'll find like
cultures.
multiple. Like, look at you guys.
Yeah.
You have so many different. You have 3 countries here,
Yeah.
right? And then you have a podcast, and you have your
Yeah.
own job.
Yeah.
There's so much depth in you, right? There's so many things
Yeah.
that that's going on for you.
Yeah.
But then
It's not
there's something.
really
It's not the same
like
in New Zealand.
that.
At
Like,
least
I've
for the
noticed.
people.
Laid
that-
back,
Yeah.
just.
It's like it's so laid back that if you graduate from uni and get a business degree, you don't start a business or get a job per se. You just get a job in Target as sales, and that pays you more and more.
Yeah,
than
because
enough.
there's the minimum
Yeah.
wage. There's
Yes.
sorry.
It's a
So there's no
different-
dreams
yeah.
per se.
Okay.
If you want to make money,
Yeah.
you can get a very simple
Yeah.
job, just work in small, like literally
Yeah.
Target as a sales representative, and you make good money. So why would you want to do anything else?
And your dad recognized that, and he
Yeah, that was
"You
like
know
one
what?"
thing. And
Yeah.
then obviously he also recognized that we were not really that in touch with our Pakistani culture, which is we weren't that in
Yeah.
touch with it. I'd never lived in Pakistan prior to that, so I didn't like, yeah, I knew the language and stuff, but I mean, how often can you visit from New Zealand? Like, it's like 24 hours
Yeah,
away.
true. Yeah.
So we used to travel maybe like once every 3 years, 2 years, and go to Pakistan like once, and like, you know, and that was about it, you know.
Okay.
And I guess he saw all of those things. He obviously wanted a different environment for us. He obviously wanted us to grow in a different way. And I do see now that if I was there, I probably would not at all be doing the things that I'm doing now. But I think that's really the biggest reason. Like, it
Yeah.
was to get back in touch with that. And also his the other reason was like his family. His family, he was too far away from his family.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of siblings. They were getting old.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Getting
So you
sick.
wanted to reconnect with
He
this.
wanted to be closer to them.
Her dad is the youngest, so that's why.
The
it's
young,
sort of like,
sort of the
Yeah.
youngest.
Yeah.
My family's too complicated. Anyway,
he has like
So,
50
yeah.
siblings.
so
But
yes,
good on your dad for recognizing that and
Yeah.
you know,
At the
making
time,
a decision.
though,
Yeah.
I hate
For you,
no,
you were like, no,
And
I
it's
don't
not
want
an easy
this.
call though. You know, like you're
No.
in New Zealand, you're in the western side of the world, much more developed than where, let's say, Pakistan was back then, or comfortable life, and then you're like, okay, let me move all this back to.
A third world country.
Yeah.
dude.
And it's
That's what my
You
whole
had s- they
YouTube
were-
channel's about.
Yeah.
like, I feel like life was too comfortable for your dad there, and then he was like, "No, I want something difficult." It was too comfortable. You're not paying for school. You're not doing like it's just. I don't know. Like
That's
I wanna
crazy though.
generalize.
As a parent, that's not what I would want for my child.
would
I would
never-
like them like
To be
okay, yeah,
comfortable,
you guys
right.
are chill,
Yeah.
nothing to worry about. Yeah, you're on the free schooling. I pay my taxes, so you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
access to all these things. Like, you know what? I'm gonna challenge these.
No,
It
that's
make
the
it different.
thing. My dad is really like totally unconventional. Like, in every single way, shape, and form I've seen, like, he has always made a decision that I've never just like, no one will like in their right mind be like, yeah, this is, I want to make this decision. Do you get what I mean? I've never
Yeah.
seen anyone around me with a dad like mine. I have not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The decisions he makes, and I think, again, like, there's a dual-edged sword, obviously, right? Like, as a young teenager, angsty teenager, you can imagine the amount of conflict we had again and again and again, especially like moving to Pakistan from New Zealand, like uprooting my whole life, and suddenly I'm like, I'm supposed to start uni. Like, what do you mean? Like, what am I
Yeah.
doing in Pakistan? You know? So,
That's what
but it
it's-
happens for the best. It really happens for the best, and I see now, like, it has happened for the best for sure. So then Pakistan was a phase. Obviously, that was a difficult phase, no doubt. And like I said, for the most part of my time in Pakistan, I was pretty much just in self-loathing. Like most of the time, I was.
You couldn't come to terms with what you
No,
are.
I lived in denial for like a whole year. It was so bad that I didn't actually tell any of my friends back home that I moved to Pakistan because the denial was so bad. So for one whole year, I kept it to myself because
Yeah.
I could not come to terms with it, and it's like I couldn't tell them because I myself physically could not deal with it.
Yeah.
Can I ask if it's not too personal? Did you feel like any shame in saying it, like especially to a white person who in New Zealand? Like,
Honestly, yes.
I would feel shame.
I
as
would have
well.
never been able to say yes before, but now, yeah, that is definitely a thing because living in that environment in the West where I was, the worst thing that you can possibly imagine happening to you, which also is such a privileged thing to say, by the way, which I realize now. But back then, the worst thing, the worst threat that a parent could give you, or the worst thing that could have possibly happened to you, is to be like, I'll take you home to Pakistan. You want to
Yeah.
go back to Pakistan?
Yeah.
Move to Pakistan? That is the worst possible thing.
But I don't think that's privilege because let's say if I'm living here, right? And if someone comes up to me and like, if you do, and so, like let's say a police officer comes up to you and that's how they threaten you. They say we'll send you back to your country.
Yeah.
That's not privilege. That's just like I worked so hard for this to be here. I mean, it would be considered privilege to you because you're a kid.
I think I get what you mean, but you're like, this is a different perspective. This is a different context.
as
Yeah,
well.
different
Okay.
context. This
Yeah.
is more like I'm with a bunch of like 15, 16-year-olds, like high schoolers, and like suddenly I have to tell them, yeah, I'm going to Pakistan. And they're like,
Yeah.
ew, why?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, never
Pakistan?
mind. It's privilege, and
Yeah.
you do have it.
Yeah, you know, if I'm gonna be completely open, it was the same thing with my relationship with India. Like growing
Right.
up, I had more friends who were like Arab and Filipinos,
Right.
and they would always make fun of Indians, and especially like I remember this so clearly when Russell Peter came out with his comedy bit about Indian and Indian families. People would be mocking Indian accents, Indian smell, Indian culture, Indian food, like how they eat with their hands. They're very dirty, unhygienic, and like looking back, like I was just thinking about this for like the last couple of years. It really got to me. That's why I never wanted to associate myself as like an Indian, because like I would always feel like a little bit of shame. It sucks to talk about this, you know. It's like it's very sad though. Like you're
but
in
it's the
denial.
I get
truth.
that, though.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
This
Yeah.
is what you.
And then I
this is
realized,
what
like,
you
no,
went through.
India is full of culture. There's
Yeah.
things that people don't see, like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, all these sort of countries. They really get a lot of hits when it comes to like how they live their lives. But it's at the same time, it's just very beautiful, especially if
But this is why everyone should be so. How do I say it without being canceled? You have to be careful.
it's okay. Right, I have one cancel. Right?
And this is
And
why
it's no fun. So,
Yeah.
so
Let me
be
No,
careful.
but now that we're adults, I try my best to be very careful with what I say because as a kid, you're just fed this. As a
Yeah.
child, you were fed this information.
And
You were fed this
true.
underhand
That's
sort of
very true.
racism
That's so
that
true.
your mind was shaped into being ashamed
Yeah, yeah.
of being half Indian, which was also what I felt as a child growing up, half Filipino, half Lebanese, where I felt when I was with my Lebanese community that my Filipino side was more of the underdog
Yeah.
when I compare my cultures. And there's always that, subtle racism that you hear, that you feel, that how the adults around you, just bring themselves and the speech that they put into play. So as adults, we have to be super careful of what we say because kids just grasp everything.
and they take it like
And you grow up with this mentality that there's another culture that is sort of less than the
Yeah.
other culture that you
Yeah.
have.
That's so true.
Yeah, and that's something that as an adult we still battle. I mean,
Yeah.
the three of us.
Like
we
why
still,
why
yeah.
why do we grow up with thinking that there's a hierarchy in cultures?
Yes.
Like why is that a thing?
Yes.
Because
Because as kids we're taught that.
we're taught
know?
everyone's equal, love one another, all those sort of things. But as you grow up, then you're like people believe stereotypes so much. I know there is a reason for them being stereotypes, but then that's one thing as well in like comedy. Like if you start doing crowd work, oh, where are you from? Pakistan? Oh, why is it my Uber driver over here? People laugh, but at the same time, it also ingrains in them like, okay, this is
This
that's
is
all
stereotype.
what they're
Yeah.
good for as well.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Yeah, it's sad, but I think, yeah, like what you said, you just have to be really careful about how you grew up, and then just start to
getting
learn.
better.
It's getting
I think-
better. It's getting
Do
better.
you
Yeah.
feel like the shame towards the country or towards the people who are from there?
Oh, it's a
Eh,
very good question.
Would you feel shame because because you're from India, or because you don't particularly like Indian people? Not like per
that's
se,
a very
but,
good question.
right?
Yeah, for me, it's I think more of the stereotypical behaviors and traits.
Like what's attached to it? What's
Yeah,
associated
that's
to
attached to it.
Because in itself, India is a brilliant country.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exceptionally
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Every country you would look at it from its core, it's a very
Yeah.
interesting. Every culture in itself is
One second.
something
The
that you-
multitude of cultures
Yeah.
that you have in India as well, the
Yeah.
food that you have, everything. But then you take that out and then you put it into context of the stereotypical understanding of who Indians are, what they are, how they are, and then that's what brings the shame part to it. You're like, do I associate myself as this? Do I associate myself as that? And that's what sucks, because that's what movies portray Southeast Asians are. That's how we're being brought up. So yeah, so it's not the best, but I think we're getting better at it.
Okay.
You know, the more that we talk about it, the more that we're open about how we grow up and the experiences that we felt is what will hopefully bring us to.
But it's just a discrimination that sort. At least I don't know if we can say this in Dubai, but don't people get paid based on their passports?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why is that a thing?
That's true. Yeah.
It just is.
It
Yeah.
just is.
It just
Yeah.
is. Certain countries do have more
Like,
privilege. They straight up just do.
Yes.
Like some countries really do have privilege.
Yes.
Like it's not fair that like I don't have to get a visa for any place. It's not like I have not done anything
Yeah.
except just have a different passport.
Yeah.
But you, I can't even travel with you.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's not fair. Who put that in place?
And I bet you that a lot of people are not aware of that. Like I have a
That's
lot
the
of
thing.
friends,
Yeah.
European friends
Thank you so much.
that I work with. They come here and they're like, why do you have to go to VFS? Why do you have? And I'm like, you don't understand. We have to, we have to have certain documents, etc. And so not a lot of people are aware of the subtle racism
Subtle
there.
racism.
Covert
Yes.
racism, I would say.
Yes.
It's more so that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when people are racist to you guys, are they racist in the Indian connotation or Philippines or Lebanese? What are they?
So lately it's been Filipino. Like
Okay.
I've been getting a lot like, oh, so your dad married a maid, or
Oh.
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
So
Yeah.
you can say you are genuinely a made kid.
Yeah, self-made.
Self-made.
Self-made maid kid.
For me, actually, both, especially now with Lebanon being at war the past few, I say war, I'll call it war, but it's more war.
No, unrest.
Yeah.
Isn't it under attack or
Yes.
Beirut and everything?
Yes. So I think both ways. There's a lot of Filipinos here, a lot of Lebanese people, and both have like strong stereotypical nuances from
Yeah.
each culture. Yeah.
So are they more racist? This would be a very interesting
Yeah.
perspective. Because people here are really racist towards Filipinos,
Yes.
and they're also very racist towards Indians
Yeah.
Yes.
and Pakistanis.
Yes.
You have both of them.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is more?
For me personally,
Which one affected you the most?
so the racism with India affected me the most because that was mostly growing up, especially in school. And of course, it always comes down to like the accent, like I mentioned, accent, smell, your food that you eat, very colorful. You eat with your hands, all those sort of things. But lately, it's a lot with Filipinos actually. Like the Filipino side, it's always like, oh, the karaoke, oh,
the loud people.
the super loud people. Oh, there's a group of Filipinos here. All those sort
Yeah.
of things. But I would say like it's technically a bit mixed. I also get racism from both sides, to be honest. Like even Filipinos and Indians. I've gone to
Oh
supermarkets.
yeah.
Has a Filipino ever made fun of, been racist towards you?
Oh
being
yeah,
white?
yeah.
And has an
Yeah.
Indian been racist
Not
towards
racist, but like I was in a Sun and Sands once. I remember this so clearly. I just got out of like college or something, so I was just like wearing, like I always had the skater boy mentality, even if I was never a skater boy. But like rock, so I would like wear shorts, show my tattoos and everything, and I would hear Filipinos say in their language, like, watch for this guy, he might steal something in their language, and I'm like, Should I? And I'm a non-confrontational person, so I just like let it slide or something.
Yeah.
She on the other hand is feisty, man. Like, especially with Arab men, she would go crazy. It's happened to her quite a few times.
Yeah.
Indians, once in India, I was there with my dad. We were on the train, and I'm speaking to my dad in English because I don't speak Hindi or anything. My dad wanted to show me some places in Bombay, so we're just going around the train. I'm talking to my dad, and all of a sudden, this guy comes out of nowhere. This really old man. I remember so clearly, comes to my face and starts yelling. Both my dad and I just freeze. My dad doesn't do anything about it. I don't do anything about it because I don't know what he's talking about. He's yelling to me in his language, and then he gets off like a couple of seconds later. My dad tells me, he's like, what the guy basically said is, the British left here so many years ago. Why do you still speak their language? Or something like that. So I'm like, oh. So he must have assumed that I am full Indian, and why am I still speaking this language? Or doesn't understand the full context. Okay, I'm half. I've never lived in India. I don't speak the language. But
Yeah.
I understand, like, there's these super patriotic people. Yeah, but like, I cannot change their minds. I'm used to it. I've heard everything, bro, to be honest, about racism and people making fun of both sides, and I've grown so
Immune of sorts.
yeah, immune to it. Like, it doesn't really affect me anymore. Especially coming here where comedy is 90% culture, ethnicity. You make fun of that. And that goes a long way here. So like, I literally heard it all.
Do you remember the woman who was hosting the event when you were performing?
Yeah.
Lana? What was her
Lima.
name? Lima.
Yeah.
Like she was a Filipino.
Yeah.
And she
Yes.
kept making fun of Alina and I were talking about this. She kept making fun of the Filipino sort of culture
Yes.
and the stereotype.
Yes.
It was like,
Yeah.
I'm a maid, and
Yes.
like,
And all of those jokes were landing perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, she was brilliant at them. And it was
Yeah.
just, I mean, sort of like felt racist. Not racist of sorts, but like when someone who's Filipino makes fun of the Filipino culture,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
It's allowed, yeah.
And that's like, I don't know how to put this, but
To
The
me,
fact
when you're
that
in a
the-
comedy show, like everything just goes. I don't know.
everything should just slide.
Yeah.
What do you think about policing in comedies? You know how stand-up comedians have to be now politically correct, and they put that sort of restriction towards comedy. What do you think about that?
There is a lot of, like, in this region, there is restrictions on comedy. We are told the moment we get into the scene what things are off limits. Talking about religion. I mean, if you're not, like, I'm Christian, so I can technically make fun of Christian. But if I'm not Muslim and I make fun of Muslim, then it's a problem. But the biggest thing is you cannot make fun of sheikhs.
Oh, yeah,
the,
of course.
You can make fun of the country to some extent, but of course not about its laws or like the rules that it currently has. But the biggest one is you cannot make fun of the sheikh at all.
Do you think you'd be a better comedian if you were in another country because of the restrictions here?
That's a very tough question.
It's a good question.
It's a very good question, actually. But so I feel that I am very relaxed over here as a comedian. Yeah, I know, but I'm just thinking. Because most of my set involves being mixed race. And I'm going to, like, this year, I'm moving into storytelling. So I'm going to be talking a lot about my experiences growing up. I don't think this would fly very well in different countries, especially if they don't know the cultures and all the nuances of what is involved in these cultures. Like, even like as an opening joke, if I say I'm half Indian, half Filipino, which makes me Nepali, which is a great joke.
That's a good joke.
But if I go to like New York and say it, people will be like, I don't get it.
They might not know Nepal.
Yeah.
yeah.
So like these are the small things that and it's easy here because a lot of my set is just me growing up, how my parents' social dynamics were. So how it was being like seeing your parents who's an Indian and a Filipino, how they were living life. Here you would see, you understand a little bit about Indian culture and about Filipino culture, so you can put two and two together. But some places it'll be difficult.
But I can imagine for other comedians who are here and then who get to tell other people from, let's say they move to New York and then they get to talk about the real things in Dubai or in UAE as a culture that they cannot actually make fun of here. I think other cultures would appreciate that because they think Dubai is, this sort of.
I'll tell you so many
yeah.
stories off camera about like, because there was one comedian here who now lives in New York, and he's getting very big, and like the story, he does a full set about Dubai, and I've seen it live, and it's so funny. But I'll tell it to you off camera. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I think comedy is just very, I don't know. It's a tough gig, especially when you think about like what I might think funny might not be funny for everyone else.
Yeah.
How you should structure a joke. Who are you intended? Because every joke, in a sense, there is a victim at the end of it. Whether it be myself, or an audience member, or a nationality, or a target, but there's always a victim.
Someone has
of
to be a
joke.
butt of the joke.
Yeah, someone has to be a butt of the joke. But yeah, I like it. I like it. I didn't do very well the day you performed, but the day you watched.
Oh, you did really well. Yeah, I still think about the Batman entire.
It was the Batman.
Batman
It was
one,
Halloween.
yeah,
Okay.
that one.
It was Halloween.
Okay. Yeah.
I really like the entire Batman thing
Yeah.
that you did. It was
Yeah.
really
So
funny.
Well, good for you.
Look, you see, the thing that you said, like, some people might find it funny, but some people won't.
Yeah.
I found it extremely funny.
Thank
The
you.
Batman
Yeah.
entire.
Yeah.
What do you call it? What was the Batman?
The bit.
Yeah, the whole Batman bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Batman
the whole
bit.
Batman bit.
That was, for me, it was
I
really
feel like you also
funny.
have to test it out, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the
Yes.
thing with comedy. You can't know if a joke is good because someone might laugh at something and someone
Exactly,
might not.
exactly.
It's such a risky thing
Yeah.
to
That's
do.
why there are open mics,
I
so
have
they get to test a
huge
lot of.
admiration
This is
for
a-
comedians.
Oh, yeah, me
Huge
too.
It's like,
experience. Whenever I...
poof, telling a joke and everyone's like silent.
everyone's
subjecting
dead silent,
yourself
and you
to,
have
like-
to stay, keep your confidence and tell the next joke, and that also has the possibility of just bombing. What a crazy gig!
Like, why is he talking faster now?
Why is he sweating so much? I think he's passing out.
This is why I can't like be with him when he does open mics, because I feel secondhand embarrassment when people don't laugh,
no.
and I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna watch you anymore. Just perfect
Jenny,
whatever.
isn't that your boyfriend? No,
No.
I don't know him.
Or you
him.
give him like a pity laugh, like
Yeah, I'll probably be the only one
You know what's worse
laughing.
is when she watches me, even there was one night I bombed so bad. It was Dubai Comedy Fest. It was only my wife and like few of her friends who came, and it was in Dubai Opera. And this is
Oh.
2 days after.
Opera
the
is
flood.
crazy.
You performed in Dubai, oh?
Yeah,
That's
but
crazy.
this is 2 days after the flood, so no one wanted to go out.
Okay.
Bro, only her friends came, so like 10 of them. None of her friends even. Like, you-
That's wrong. That's
Come
disrespect.
on, they laughed a little
no, I
bit.
couldn't hear anything. I mean, it's such a big venue that maybe you can.
Yeah.
They did laugh. They were the 10 girls in the corner.
Yeah, that was me just laughing in the corner. Yeah, but thankfully with that gig you met them and they're here today.
Yeah,
Other
I met you guys at the
Hive gang.
Hive. Yeah,
Ah, okay. not
Funny
the Batman
people.
one.
yeah. Abs introduced us.
Oh, thanks, Abs. If you're watching.
Bro, Abs is
Yeah.
I love
He's a king,
Abs.
man. He's a king, bro.
Yeah.
Abs is too good. Everything he says is a joke. You know?
Everything,
When you just
yeah.
talk to someone, and I was responding to his stories, and because he's constantly making jokes, he just has a very funny personality.
Yes.
I don't think
And
there's
he's
a
very
series.
loud,
He's
yeah.
very loud.
Yes.
And he's at Emirati just like in the Kandura all the time.
Yes.
And I don't know, I started doing this thing where I would give him a scenario, and I gave him a very weird scenario. I was like, make a joke about this. And he instantly made a joke.
Yes.
Because it was just weird. I don't remember what the scenario was, but I just started thinking, I can't make a joke about this.
He's very fast.
There's
yeah.
no way someone can make a joke about it. And
Yeah.
he made a joke instantly. It was a 2-word joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? Like, how
He's
is
a
this?
good crowd. How do you say?
Crowd work.
Crowd work.
But even some of his
Comedian.
jokes were bombing. Remember that joke that he did with I was born by the river, like that.
Ah,
like,
yeah,
like that would do really well in different audiences.
yeah,
But that audience did not understand that joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they didn't really.
No one
they didn't
understood.
really
And
understand.
even he said, he's like, damn, this joke does well. Why didn't? Okay.
It's so just usually
I think it really depends on the audience that you have.
audience.
How drunk they are.
Yeah, how drunk they are.
How drunk
especially.
they are.
Yes.
That's huge.
How ready are they to like
How,
take on your jokes?
how in tune
Yeah.
are they with Dubai? Like 90% of that room was like 3 months in Dubai.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
That's true.
That's a co-working sort of creative hub place. And literally, when I spoke to everyone, a lot of them were like, "Yeah, I've just been here. Like, this is my second month."
I
in
think that's
Dubai."
why we found it really funny because we like understood it
Yeah,
better.
We understood
Yeah.
it like
Yeah.
like you
So
have to
you've
be
been
in
here
Dubai for like
longer.
at least a year
Yeah.
to understand those jokes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nuances.
But
Yeah.
what a good night, bro. What a good night.
Well,
what?
do you
Come back.
do you have any other questions for them before? we wrap up?
Just one or two things that I wanted to touch on, like the first question that I asked you about creativity and you trying to top your last video. I think one thing that also helps a lot, like it's not more of a question, but something I just wanted to discuss is having a second channel or like a second backup account. Because I see a lot of people like, okay, they have a main primary channel where they want to push out gold. But at the same time, like what you said, like there are people who, okay, this is not ready to be gold standard yet. This is something I've been working on. Let me post it on my second channel or backup channel. So those are like,
Isn't that so much
For
work,
me,
though?
I would not. Like, that's too
Yeah.
confusing. It's too much work.
Yeah.
Like, one channel for me is a lot. And the fact that I have to post on, like, even Instagram and TikTok and Shorts, like,
Yeah.
I'd just rather post on one page.
Actually,
and
one thing I
that's it,
wanted to
yeah.
discuss now, TikTok is not.
yeah, that's
a thing
yeah,
in the
TikTok
US
has gone
anymore.
banned
today.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard.
that's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, today
How
or
long do you
yesterday.
think that's going to last?
Well, they said once Trump gets into his presidential position.
No, so the reason
then-
it's banned is because they have no US doesn't have any control over it, and they said
Yes.
we want to have some stake in it.
Yeah.
That's why Mr. Beast all of a sudden is like, I'm gonna buy TikTok.
Mm.
And stuff.
Really?
Yes, and
It's the regulation of.
it's the regulation because it is true. Like I've seen documentaries, I've seen podcasts about TikTok, how it really takes in information, and if you read the terms and conditions, which is like a number of pages long, it talks about, oh, we will be monitoring your analytics, we'll be monitoring so and so, and it's like straight up it tells you like this is what we do, and it goes straight to China's data not mining but data agency,
servers, whatever.
yeah, whatever you guys do, even anything that is not on TikTok. So like let's say TikTok's on my phone and I'm calling Janine and I tell her something, TikTok will still have the ability to save that data. So US is now very concerned, like what is American data being held in China. So they're like, we need to have some sort of regulation about
TikTok really takes out data from you. Like, TikTok sends you a notification when you join the app where it says allow TikTok to use data from other
Yeah.
apps throughout the phone
Yeah.
to sort of give you a more, I don't know, good for you page, whatever.
Yeah.
And on top of that, TikTok also in the terms and conditions, which I found was really creepy, is that they even have the data for when you scroll on your phone, right, and you do this. They even have this data. How many times you went up and down slightly, like your
Yeah.
finger movements.
Yes.
Which this is just too much data.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a
there
bit
was
too
one
much.
thing which one creator also told me. I can't remember which one, but apparently even like, okay, I'm watching a reel and then I turn up the volume on this reel. Instagram will know, oh, this person found your reel. Sorry, the data from like, okay, since the person turned up the volume, he wanted to hear your content a
It's
little
more
bit better,
engaged.
your reel.
Yeah.
And that data is also taken to, I think Anand was telling me this.
What, does it send you a notification?
I'm not
And then
telling you what
the
they- but,
Indian
like,
with
tells
the
you.
oh my
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Andrew Tate
Yeah, Andrew Tate
from
guy,
Imo.
yeah.
Oh
Like
my
him or no?
no! I really like these guys.
Okay,
I follow
okay,
them.
okay. He's a great guy.
Sandeep,
Yeah.
tell me, like, you're coming for a job interview.
Yeah. Sandeep and Anand, they
Yes.
blew up. Yeah.
They really.
This group of the Sandeep, Anand, Denise,
Sean.
girl. There's a girl called Denise.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Abs.
The big
And Sean.
crew of
My parents are divorced.
Oh, my parents are divorced.
Yes.
My parents are. Oh.
He's but it's so crazy. Like
What a
these
good-
guys are all. I knew Sean. I first met Sean in 2018, and he was I don't want to say, but he was no one back then. But so funny. I'm like, oh, this guy is gonna go places, and now where he is today is crazy. Yeah.
So good to see
Anand
where
also
they are
super. Ever since I met him, 2019. Yeah, sorry. Ever since 2019, he was always like, I want to get Instagram famous. I want to get Instagram famous. I want to be a content creator. He's been doing everything: animations, shorts, puns, street interviews, everything to just get his name out there. And suddenly he blew up in a year now,
Yeah.
a little bit over a year.
So it really is, Dubai is the city of blowing up.
Blowing
I guess.
The
Well,
city of blowing up.
maybe not the right word, but looking forward to you
I think we have
guys.
to rephrase that.
Yeah, I know. I have to maybe delete that.
The
and
city
then
is blowing up.
Yes, it is blowing up in a good way,
In a good way.
not in
the
the other
bomb.
way. Yeah.
Oh.
It's the
Yes.
bomb. It's the bomb.
So maybe now with TikTok being a little bit less famous than, in terms of content, maybe Instagram and YouTube will be back
Yeah.
on the map, where we'll see you guys more and more, hopefully this year.
I mean, I only make content in Urdu, so.
Ah.
Oh
You
yes,
get-
yes,
I'm
yes. I
kidding.
remember.
I was like,
I'm
No,
changing.
but your
I'm changing.
YouTube channel was more in Urdu, right? Because I did see
It
a
was
few of your
more,
videos.
it was for a very specific audience,
Okay.
and now I
Right.
want to change that audience.
Okay.
So it
Now
was,
that you're here as well.
now that I'm here,
Yeah.
I have a very different. I don't know. For the past 2 years, how long I've been here, my entire following has been very Dubai centric. So I
Okay.
don't focus on Pakistani followers. I don't even speak in Urdu, even in my stories. So, which is, just, I don't know, just sounds, I'm slowly becoming more privileged. But
Which you are.
Alina's like rolling eyes.
leaving my
work.
Pakistani behind.
Right.
It's working!
I'm making him a hug.
Exactly. Now he's half Emirati, half Pakistani. There you go.
I wish I
Welcome
was
to the
half
half, the group of halfies.
That would be, Alina would like
we
me
will
more.
welcome you with open arms into
Just
our group.
someone welcome me.
Yes,
Someone
at this point,
please.
just anyone.
It's been too
Sad
long.
Umer.
I sad Umer in one sentence. But yeah, I was gonna ask you a question. I forgot. You know, what was the thing that you asked Alina before the question about?
No, it just tied into the first question that I asked about
was
trying
that?
to top your last
Oh yeah.
video.
Yeah.
So
Your last best.
yeah, because every time you're like putting out like, okay, this is the one that's gonna go viral, and then it does go viral. I'm like, oh shit, how do I top this now?
Okay.
How do I?
You know,
Then-
I actually funny read about this like in a book literally just like a few weeks ago or like a week ago, but literally they did a study where created like inventors or like entrepreneurs, they would like get a bunch of ideas and they would basically, the way we as a creator think our like thing is going to perform, like let's say if you work on a video, you're like, this one's the one, this one's gonna go viral, yeah, and it does shit, like it plummets, like it's on the floor and no one cares. Like you spend the most time on this and you think this is worthy, but it's not. The study was something about like how what you think the forecast of the response is going to be to your creation is almost always wrong to what the actual audience response is. So you never know what the audience is going to like. So usually what happens is the videos that end up going viral, they're always the ones that you're just like, why this?
Yes.
You know, like why this of everything?
But then that's a great encouragement
Yeah.
to you guys to be like, you know what? Let's
Yeah.
just put
You
things
just
out
have
there.
to post.
Yeah.
You
The way
can't-
the way
yeah.
because I remember this question with you. So the way I would look at it is, you never know which video of yours is gonna go really well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So every video has to have that importance for you. It's not like, okay, the previous video did really well, now the next one has to. Because I don't know why the previous video even worked. Because the only thing that you can do is put the amount of effort that you want to put into a video, right? So there are videos that I made because I just had a stupid joke came into my head that I didn't want to say out loud, but I said it out loud. And my friends are like, why did you make this joke? And I'm like, okay, this is like, there's something there because it is a joke, but people didn't like it. Maybe what if I post it and see how it does? So I made a video like that. It was like, what, 5 seconds, 6 seconds
That
long.
became his most viral.
And that was the most viral video ever. I even made that video. I was cringing that I was posting it. And I told my friends, if this video does not hit like 20,000, 30,000 views in like a day, I will remove it. It hit about 750K in a day. And I'm like, what is this?
Wow.
Why? Why did this video have to go viral?
Wow.
And then that sort of made me realize that you can always have some sort of idea that just hits you, and if you don't act on it, maybe you might be missing out on like a viral content. I mean, that's not the goal, a viral video, but like you might be missing out on something that could really lead up to something, you know?
Yeah.
So it's about like, even Alina, it's like there's no such thing as like a good idea anymore.
Yes.
There's just idea, right?
Yes.
So it's like you can't ever have it's there's no such thing as a good idea. It's only like there's an idea and then you have to act upon it and
Yeah.
then see how it does,
Yeah.
and then it's like decided if it's a good or a bad idea.
Yeah.
And even then you can't make an assumption if it's a bad idea because you don't know who might watch it. Even if like 1,000 people watch it, one person might be someone who is like, I don't know, let's say a guy who works in Netflix who wants to give you a voiceover audition.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, he liked your voice, he didn't like the video. You get what I mean?
You
Yes.
just have to put yourself out there. Like, you
Yeah.
don't know. You never know. But you just have to try. You only miss the shots you don't take, basically.
If you guys are into books, there's this the author of Eat, Pray, Love. What's her name? Is it Elizabeth
Julia Roberts?
Gilbert? Eat, Pray, Love. She
Julia
Yeah,
Roberts
sure.
was not right.
yes, Elizabeth Gilbert. That's her name.
What a woman.
But if you guys are into books, how do I say?
What's it
She's
called?
written a book called Big Magic.
Big
Is that
Magic.
it?
Big
Yes.
Magic, what a
and
nice
it's all about the concept of getting these ideas, and she writes about ideas being a thing that you have to respect because it comes and goes. And if it comes and you don't act on it, and it continues to come and you don't act, eventually it will not come anymore.
Yeah.
And so this is the ideas or thinking like a thing that you would have to respect
Yeah.
and hone. So you have to make sure that you act upon it as much as you can before it just goes away.
Disappears.
100%.
So
Do you
if
feel like
you're-
there's a thing as original ideas anymore? Like, is there
No.
a thing such as thing
me no.
I don't think so. I mean,
Our
Could be
idea
original
of
to
the
you.
podcast was another idea that you
as
had as
another
well.
idea that someone else
So
had? There's no such thing as an original
yes,
idea.
it's just how you execute that
Yeah.
idea could be an original or
I feel like-
a unique thing.
Or a unique
yeah.
thing.
Even like with original ideas, they're usually like just something that already exists done in a different way, you know, like originality. It's like how do we even define originality? Like that's the question you have to actually go down to. It's funny, the book that I was reading is literally called Originals.
The original.
It's literally called The Originals. And it's
Right.
about like it's literally about original ideas and like do they even exist and how do you even produce them and stuff
Right.
like that.
read
So,
Steal Like an Artist.
Steal like
Steal
an
like an
artist.
Talks about it like, okay, there might be an idea out there,
Yeah.
but there are so many people who've bettered the initial idea.
Yeah.
So everything stems from something, like,
Yeah.
and but it just
Just make it better.
taken and really put in the blender, changed it a lot, and then did it.
Exactly.
There's this I don't know. Not belief. What is it? There's a theory. Okay. There's this theory by someone. I don't remember the name, but it's a 3% rule. Okay. It's very interesting. So you can take any original existing idea and then just change 3% of it, and it could become an original idea. So you can quite literally, let's say you take a transportation app. Okay. You take something like Uber. A lot of people have Kareem exists, Uber exists, and blah blah blah. Okay. But Uber, what do you want to change about that? If you want to make a new app, what you could do, let's say, is change 3% of it and the way you would do that is when
Color theme.
no, not color theme, not even color theme. Color theme, yes, that is, you can change the branding, make it for a specific kind of audience. Just Gen Z, make it like black and blue and whatever. Add pinks to it, you get like these points, whatever. So that's like adding more to it. Or what you could do is just whenever you want to go somewhere, you add that location. It shows you a range. Okay, so it's gonna cost you about 50 to 60 dirhams. What is your how much are you willing to pay? So if you just add that little thing where you give the user a slight bit of
a little bit of change of experience.
control over
yeah.
control over. So if usually this ride would cost 40 to 55 dirhams, what is your, how much are you willing to pay? I would pay 50. And then there could be riders who are willing to go for 50.
Yeah.
Small
So that's a
change.
very small, minute
And that was the
change.
birth
Yeah.
of InDrive,
But that's the birth of
which
another,
was another app in
which is an
Pakistan,
app that
not
sort of
here.
like took
Yeah.
over Kareem, Uber,
Wow.
a lot of Bolt as well.
everything in Pakistan.
And
Yeah.
very small little change.
Yeah.
It was such a brilliant change.
Yeah.
And they were making more money than all the other apps, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, someone came up with the idea of let's put like you can get a ride from an app,
Yes.
but like there's so much more that you can
Changing
build on
things.
it. Which,
That's why Kareem has like food and this and that. Like, why does it have that?
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to. It's because they want to be different from Uber.
Yeah.
They want to be different, so they made it into a super app.
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's
Just
just
have to be
interesting.
creative.
You just gotta be-
3%
3%
worth of creativity.
Add 3%.
Exactly.
3% more.
gets you somewhere.
That's interesting. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, a lot of things are just 3% different from the
Yeah.
original.
3% different from
better,
it.
right?
So
But
for this
just-
year,
okay, the woman has to start first.
yeah.
Like the only difference between Spider-Man and Batman is a spider and a bat. And money.
You should try stand-up comedy at this point.
No, I want to do it.
You know, I've
real
told
about
us
this
so
show
many
to see how it
times.
does. I want to.
You should hang out with
So
Josh
many
more often at this point.
Stupid.
Dude, for real, I've been telling him. I think he really.
There you
could.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the theme of our year is 3% more.
3%
That's
more. What a
nice.
Yeah, what a great way to close the
great way to
podcast,
close-
right?
You know what we
Yeah.
should do? We should get them back again. I don't know, maybe December and see.
Have they done
And then see how-
3%?
Let's assess
Yeah.
how we
Are the 3%
Yes.
better?
Yes. There should be an assessment at the end of the
3%
year.
worse.
I like that.
I'm down for that.
That's a good way to stay accountable as well.
Exactly.
I do like that.
Exactly.
'Cause
And
it'll
we'll keep
suck
the
to come
audience.
back and be like,
know.
oops, I did
Please hold
nothing
us
like
Never mind.
accountable. Yeah.
I was supposed to travel, I didn't.
that. I was supposed to
Visa
create-
issues.
Visa issues. Still bitching about visa issues. A year later.
What 3 countries can I see in 2026?
What countries allow Pakistani passports?
There you go. So, guys, please hold us accountable.
Yeah, hold us accountable.
Thank you for staying on up to this time.
Oh, it was lovely.
On that note,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. it's
have a nice
5:15.
day.
Yeah, have a nice day, guys.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for coming as well. Thanks for
Thank you
joining.
for having
Thank you.
us. Amazing.
That was fun.
That was really
That was really fun.
That just
Yeah.
flew by, huh?
Honestly,
I didn't know it was
I felt like there was
5:15
so
minutes.
much more that we could have spoken about. Like that was fun.
Thank you so much, guys.
Had a good time.
1 hour 30. Okay.